Queen Elizabeth II, the Queen of Great Britain, was the longest reigning monarch in history after Louis XIV. She took her last breath on September 8, 2022, bringing an end to a reign that spanned 70 years and began during Winston Churchill's second government in the early 1950s. Although she was never destined to rule when she was born, the turn of events in the British monarchy brought her under direct inheritance of a kingdom. In this video, we'll take you back to her early days as Elizabeth Alexandra Mary Windsor and show how she became one of history's most beloved monarchs. But first, let's acknowledge the end of an era. The end of Queen Elizabeth II's reign is probably one of the biggest milestones in British history. It's hard to imagine that in just a year or so, Britain will have a new monarch in the form of Prince Charles, the Prince of Wales, as King Charles III. Although the moment his mother took her last breath, he became the new king. It would not be until some time that an official royal coronation ceremony took place. Most of us alive have always seen Queen Elizabeth as the face of the British monarchy, and now it will all have to change. We have a whole new era of royal history to look forward to. Queen Elizabeth II died peacefully at her Balmoral Castle in Scotland at the age of 96, just after a year or so of her lifelong husband. With her death, we say goodbye to a woman who was not only an incredible head of state and monarch, but also an incredible mother. She was happily married for 73 years to Prince Philip and had 4 children: Prince Charles, Princess Anne, Prince Andrew, and Prince Edward. We all know how controversies have surrounded the late Queen's family throughout her life. Therefore, it will be a challenge to create an atmosphere where the British people are just as satisfied with their monarchy as they were when the Queen was head of state. But unlike most monarchs of the current world, Queen Elizabeth was not born to be a queen one day. So let's look at her glorious reign spanning almost 70 years. Young Lilibet with a kingdom and inheritance. Queen Elizabeth II was born on April 21, 1926. Her father, Prince Albert, Duke of York, was second in line for the British throne at that time. Her mother was Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon, and together with her husband, the royal couple had 2 beloved daughters, Princess Elizabeth Alexandra Mary and Princess Margaret Rose. They were living a somewhat normal life until King Edward III, Elizabeth's uncle, decided to abdicate from his throne to marry his mistress, Wallis Simpson. This created a massive upheaval in the British royal family, and now Prince Albert landed in direct line to the throne. Faced with reality, Prince Albert took on the role of King George VI. This meant that young Lilibet, as she was lovingly called, was now heir presumptive to the British monarchy. This was a huge responsibility and a burden on the shoulders of a 10-year-old girl that she would carry throughout her life. And Princess Elizabeth not only took the role well, but on her 21st birthday, made a vow of lifelong service to her nation and people of the Commonwealth. She did a radio speech on her birthday and promised that she would dedicate her life to the crown and would be at service her whole life. The Queen proved true to her words and was in the office carrying out duties as the monarch until her very end. Princess Elizabeth's childhood was very different from what we might expect for a princess of that time. For one thing, she grew up in the palace with her parents and younger sister, Princess Margaret. Unlike many other royal children who were raised by nannies and tutors, Queen Elizabeth II had a very close relationship with her parents. The family had a strong bond, and the princess was especially close to her father. At the age of 21, the princess was betrothed to Prince Philip of Denmark and Greece, and they were married on November 20th, 1947. The couple had produced 4 children. The oldest one, Prince Charles, has now been declared king. Her father, King George VI, was a heavy smoker who even underwent surgeries for a left total pneumonectomy and was diagnosed with cancer. As a result, his health was increasingly weakening. The young princess took on some responsibilities for her ailing father and was in Kenya on the way to Australia with Prince Philip when she received the news of King George's death. The princess who left Britain as heir presumptive returned as queen. That's how the young princess of 25 became the ruling monarch of Great Britain and all the Commonwealth nations. longest reigning monarch. Queen Elizabeth was crowned in an official coronation ceremony held on June 2, 1953, at Westminster Abbey, London. The ceremony was broadcasted for people to watch. This meant the start of a new modern era of an open and relatable monarchy that Britain never had before. It was attended by other monarchs and state and government officials from around the world. This reign would last all her life, which is exactly 70 years and 214 days, the longest any British monarch has ever ruled. During her reign, Queen Elizabeth has been a constant presence in British life. She has met multiple presidents and prime ministers from around the world and welcomed more than 1 million people through Buckingham Palace gates as part of her official duties, including kings and queens. Though she is often seen as an icon, she was also known for being down-to-earth and approachable. She loved dogs, especially corgis. She even had a sense of humor and knew how to make people laugh, and that's why her hilarious jokes have become legendary over time. This matters because humor is seen as a likable trait, and it's even more memorable when it comes from a monarch. Controversial royal family. As the Queen's reign progressed, so did the number of controversies. Divorces of her 3 children and only sister, Princess Margaret, brought sadness to Her Majesty's life, especially when Prince Charles and Lady Diana divorced. The royal family was heavily criticized for not solving their marital issues, and because of Diana's immense popularity, her tragic death came as a shock to the royal family and to the whole world. The Queen gave a live speech after Diana's passing, acknowledging the better days that the royal family had with her. The marriages of her other children weren't successful due to various reasons, except for Prince Edward, who was happily married with 2 children. Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson divorced after 6 years of their marriage, but they've brought up 2 daughters together. Prince Andrew was also gripped by the scandal of sexual abuse, and as a result, he was forced to withdraw from his official royal duties. Princess Anne's marriage to Captain Phillips ended in divorce as well. All this family drama directly affected the Queen, but because of her reserved and not so emotional nature, she hardly has ever shown her feelings publicly, other than family tragedies. The British royalty is often accused of stealing from Southeast Asia countries like India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Iran during colonial times. For example, the world's most expensive diamond, Koh-i-Noor, actually belongs to this region and is estimated to be around $400 million. It has been worn by generations of British queens like their own, and it is still part of British crown jewels. With the Queen no longer alive, it's being demanded back by the people of these countries. A legacy of duty and loyalty. Queen Elizabeth II lived her life as a beloved monarch for 7 decades, and her legacy of loyalty to her people is just as strong as her image. She's not only known for being a long-reigning monarch, but also a loyal and supportive one. She has always supported her people through times of hardship and provided guidance throughout the difficulties. She was also an advocate for equality throughout her reign and worked with many civil rights groups over the years to ensure that everyone has equal access to opportunities, even if it means going against tradition. As the longest reigning monarch, the Queen has ruled millions for over 70 years. She was an absolute queen and a real motivation for people across the globe. Her services for her country and the Commonwealth will always be remembered. Although King Charles III has taken the charge, nobody will ever be able to replace her. Our condolences go out to the royal family. That's it for today. We hope you found our video interesting. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and share it with others. Also, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our new uploads. In the end, thanks for watching, and see you next time.